Hey, Calvary family and friends. John and Donna Paolone here to encourage and to remind you about the importance of prayer, especially during times of uncertainty. We are really excited because Calvary is going to be hosting numerous prayer opportunities where we can get together and pray, where we can Zoom in our prayers. I know how you're crazy about that. And we can also pray and fast at home. Pastor Dan said something very interesting and very insightful as far as prayer and the power of prayer. And that is, he said, prayer connects us to God. Fasting disconnects us from the world. What a powerhouse statement. And we should be practicing that this month. But let me just get you to think about something. Do you really believe that God hears your prayers? Do you know that one of the main reasons people don't pray is because they don't believe that God hears their prayers? But we learned that lesson a long time ago before we even knew Jesus. We learned that lesson, that he does hear our prayers.
Let me tell you a story, and I'll give you the condensed version. I was unsaved, young construction worker, working on a building. I fell off the third floor into the excavation in the bottom. I went to get up, and I couldn't move. I couldn't move my legs, my arms, my back. I was frozen, paralyzed. And I'm laying there and I'm saying, gosh, I'm 35. I have 3 small girls and a wife. I have to provide for them. So I did what I know now as a fleece. I looked up and said, God, if you get me out of this, I'm yours. At that time, the paramedics came down. They strapped me in a gurney. They pulled me out of the excavation. We got to the top and he was evaluating my situation, and I heard him speak to the emergency room doctor at Hillcrest, and he said, broken back, broken shoulder, broken legs, no use of any extremities. When I heard that, fear came over me, and I gave the same fleece. Get me out of this and I'm yours. Get me out of this and I'm yours.
At that time, John's brother ended up calling me, and in his gentle way, he tried to tell me that our life was going to be changed forever. He told me that John was paralyzed. He had fallen off a building and they were taking him to the emergency room at Hillcrest now. So I got into my van, and the only thing I could think to do was to pray. Even though I didn't know how to pray, I felt powerless, I felt helpless, and I just didn't even know what to say. But I did end up putting out a fleece as well. And I said, God, if you can heal his back, I can take care of the other breaks in his body, but if you would just heal his back, I will know that you are real, and I will commit my life to you. I drove on to the emergency room, found John in the back room. He had just come back from x-rays, and as I approached him, I touched his leg, and his leg moved. And I thought, were you healed? John said then to me that about 20 minutes prior to me coming there, that a warm, intense heat came over his whole body.
As I'm laying there, the emergency room doctor looked at me and he said, we're going to have to take you for another set of x-rays. You fell 3 floors into a basement on a rubble wall, and you don't have one break. We have a gentleman 1 floor up, fell 10 feet, and is in a body cast. You are one lucky guy. I paused and I looked at him. I said, I wasn't lucky. I think I just met God.
Psalm 116 verses 1 and 2 says, I love the Lord, for he heard my voice. He heard my cry for mercy. Because he turned his ear to me, I will call on him as long as I live. Calvary, that is true. God did hear our voice and our cries, and we did come to the Lord. I committed my life to Christ that night, as I promised, and John came shortly thereafter to know the Lord. But it was because that he heard us. He heard our cry and he answered.
Yes.
Our prayer for you is that during this season of prayer, that you will come to know, if you don't know already, you will come to know in your heart that God does not only speak to us, but he listens attentively to our prayers.
We've been saved 32 years, and we have put up a lot of prayers in that time. Had a lot of answered prayers. We've had some prayers that weren't answered the way we thought they should have been. But one thing we know for sure is God hears the prayers of his people. God bless you, Calvary.
See you soon.